Anthony Edwards ceiling.
You know what his ceiling is for me? It ain't even a basketball ceiling. Finally, a player to love.
Oh.
And this is what I was hanging out with my man Trayvon, used to be Black Trey on Twitter, at The Athletic, and my brother. And we were talking about, I was watching online. Have you ever seen the clip of the first game of Adrian Dantley coming back against the Pistons after Isaiah got him traded, or he believed Isaiah got him traded?
Oh, when he was traded for Mark Aguirre.
Yeah.
No, I haven't seen it.
Okay, so they go around, right? It's the pregame, and it's the dap, and it's a big deal because Isaiah Thomas is coming. Adrian Dantley has come back. And so Isaiah comes to get the dap to Dantley, and Dantley gets him and then pulls him in.
Oh, okay.
And keep it in mind that Dantley is like 8 years older than Isaiah. Pulls him in and gets in his ear, and it's just and you see Isaiah try to laugh it up and walk away, and Dantley grabs his hand and pulls him back.
Okay.
And keeps going. It had Isaiah so thrown off, he shot an air ball in the first shot of the game. Now, Isaiah came back and shot 30, but I say that to say there was a time where this game was much more human and much more personal, and it felt like people were playing as opposed to like statistical avatars or these guys that we built up since they were children to be wage earners. Like, it was like watching people play at the playground. It had that sort of like visceral emotion. Anthony Edwards is the most real human being I feel like I've seen be a star basketball player in such a long time. And I was watching that game on Sunday because I was on the phone with my man Vinny Goodwill, and he's like, yo, you might want to turn on this Anthony Edwards thing. I didn't even know it was on TV. And I'm looking at him, and the way he's doing it is like, oh, this is personal to him. This matters to him. Not even as personal in the sense that Germany did something to me, but there's a level at which he cares that is throwback in the way that he carries himself and does all these things that is throwback. And so he's, 22 years old, mature in a way that he doesn't get nearly enough credit for because he got to carry old Carl around because Carl can't get this job.
He's a good actor, too. He's got that going for him.
Yeah, like once they get Carl out of town, I think the sky's the limit.
All right, so here's your pal, someone I don't know, but I follow on Twitter, Miles Brown.
Yes.
He's a Timberwolves fan. He lives there, right?
Yes.
He lives in Minnesota. He made the accurate point, which is it is truly a shame that Minnesota made the mistake. So many we saw the Hornets make it with Anthony Davis. We saw the Mavs make it twice now with Luka. We saw the Cavs make it with LeBron. You wish someone would learn from it, which is you get this great young player. And because he's so good so early, you get overly excited and try to microwave everything. Mm-hmm. Because if right now Minnesota simply had all the assets from the Gobert trade, so you have Walker Kessler, you have those 4 first-round picks, you have all of that, and then Karl Towns as a trade chip, plus all those things, we would be saying, oh, they could get Embiid. They would have instead, they went all in on the Gobert piece. Now, you still can trade Karl Towns, but instead of limitless optimism about what they could become, it is capped to a degree. I don't hate Gobert's fit with Anthony Edwards. I don't love his fit with Karl Towns, and I don't like, honestly, I don't like much of Karl Towns, the basketball player. Like, I just don't. I think a lot of it's empty calories, and I think some of his comments this summer have just been so wildly delusional that I'm like, oh, I don't know if I could trust him to know what you need to have a real winning team. But Anthony Edwards is thrilling, and the point that I've made to you privately and maybe publicly, I don't know, is the spot for best American player is wide open.
Oh yeah, it's him.
I think it's gonna.
He's top 2. He's top 3, I would say.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't think it's him yet because Tatum obviously is there, but it looked like that was what Nike was betting on Ja.
Yes.
They had Ja and Zion. Like, one of them is going to be it. Zion, we'll see. Ja, we'll see. Tatum is, to me, a great player that we know. I think Tatum's, destined to be a consistent All-NBA great player that will never be the best player in the league. Mm-hmm. That's just my opinion. But But that best American-born player, because the best your list of the best players is probably going to have 4 or 5 foreign guys on it before you get to the best American. But Anthony Edwards could snatch that title, and with that charisma, and again, I don't want to sound like jingoistic, but there is something to being the best American. There is some marketing to it that is available that isn't typically available to the international players. He is making a strong case for it.
But this is where I talk about that human part about Edwards. If Jayson Tatum was wired like Anthony Edwards is wired, Jayson Tatum would be the best player in the NBA.
That might be right.
I don't think it matters to him in the same way. And that's not to say he doesn't care or anything like that, but the way that we watch those Celtics and the way that we watch them fall apart and the way that
he just doesn't ever seem to play angry.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, right?
Yes.
Like there's not that I can turn this thing on and make it happen sort of thing. And that to me is the thing with Edwards. Now, to me, where Minnesota messed up, part of it is obviously all they gave up for the Gobert trade. They wanted to make a big splashy move when they got in there, and they decided to let Carl, and I have to be careful when I talk about him because it's hard for me to be honest and not sound really mean, and I don't know that guy. The move was to get in immediately if you're Tim Connolly, the new GM, part owner, all of that stuff, and get Carl out of there. Yeah. Like at some point you got to look up and realize, yes, he's really tall and he can shoot threes. But the fact that he brags about being the best shooting big man of all time, that's like saying, ain't no accountant that can dance like me. I'm sure that's really good at the Christmas party and everybody likes it, but I just got audited. Yeah. Right? Like they come in and they take in my cars, and you're supposed to stop them from taking the cars. And people take cars all the time. Yeah. Right? That was the move they needed to make, was to get him out of there. But now they made the trade with Gobert, which completely changed the trade market, and now you can't trade a player like Karl Towns unless you get like 8 first-round picks because everybody thinks that you got.
Correct. And so but the bright side is, if you're a Timberwolves fan, who I believe they have won season that they won a playoff series in their team's history.
That is correct.
The conference finals run with Cassell, KG obviously, and Sprewell. So they've won 2 playoff series in their franchise history. You have Anthony Edwards, which will be wildly exciting.
Hey, thanks for watching. Hit the subscribe button to get more from the show, and make sure to click the bell to get notified every time new content drops. Check out full episodes of What's Right wherever you get your podcasts, or just click the link in the description below.